Okay, welcome back. This is Automation Happy Hour. I'm really excited to have my guest today, Jorge Munoz. He's the VP of Business and Marketing at Unmanned Life. So George actually is a seasoned executive with a strong international experience in Europe, US, the Middle East, with a special focus in strategic marketing, in technology and innovation, enterprise business development, and branding. So welcome, Jorge. Super excited to have you here.
Likewise, thank you very much for having me, Brittany. I'm very, very excited.
Awesome. So Jorge, we've talked a little bit. You're coming from overseas right now, so we talk about happy hour. It's a little different when our time difference is about 8 hours, right? So
Okay.
tell us where are you coming from today?
So today we are in our offices of Unmanned Life in Barcelona. Barcelona, Spain. Although we're a British company, headquarters in London, our tech offices are in Barcelona. So we're in
Awesome.
between. Yeah.
So do you live in Barcelona?
I do. I do live. What I call home is Barcelona, but during the whole year we always throw in the word and in between both London and Barcelona. But
Okay,
yeah,
so you
home is
travel a ton. You're always on flights and on the road, pretty much. Is that like your year round traveler?
that's correct. So we're always on the road. We're always traveling. Well, of course, during pandemic was, although we travel during the COVID period, it was less. But now, right after COVID, we have increased our traveling. So yeah, most likely between Canada, within Europe, and also the Middle East, as you already mentioned. This is like the locations where we working on today.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's from what we briefly talked about, you kind of had a upbringing where you were all over the place too, right? So you're used to this traveling and kind of moving from place to place. Tell me a little bit about like your childhood and your upbringing and how you got to automation in general.
Sure. Well, actually, Venezuelan Spanish. I hold both nationalities. I was born in Caracas, in Venezuela. And when I was a teenager, yeah, I was 16, 17 years old, I moved to London uh, to finalize my studies there in London. Then from London, I moved to France, Lyon, actually the city. It's a beautiful city in France, where I spent 5 years of my life. And then I came to Barcelona, and ever since I've been in between, many other cities in Europe, but always what I call home is Barcelona. Um, and then let's say my path through innovation started. And I think we have discussed about this already. So in my previous life, how I like to call it, I used to work for a very well-known advertising company called Saatchi Saatchi from the Publicis Group. So I was I mean, my accounts were the typical accounts like from Nestle, like Nespresso's, the coffees, right, and
Mhm.
Perrier and San Pellegrinos, like all this water, and of course everything was already so much settled. There was not room for innovation, at least from my side, right? Me working as in the agency, I was feeling. That I needed to do something else. I need to be, I needed to be more creative. And then, well, there was the opportunity to start working, first of all, as a consultant in a brand new company that was starting by that time that was called Unmanned Life.
Mhm.
And well, 5 years has passed, and now I'm one of the owners of the company. So I own
Okay.
part of the company, and yeah, so far very good.
And you're young.
I am. I'm 32 years old.
That's pretty impressive. That's awesome. Um, so with your travels and with your experience over your 32 years, what brought you to Unmanned Life that really like what was the reason why you wanted to work for this company? What did you see in this company that was different?
I mean, you're gonna probably laugh because it is it's funny that, and I've got asked a lot this question. So why on my life why I liked it so much, And there is one word, and it's the word, not only me, but everyone that works in the company, we say that we're a very sexy company, meaning
Okay.
that when we tell people what we do, everyone, found us very interesting, and they always want to know more. So I think that's key for us. And it's not only me saying it. It's like a common thing here in Unmanned. We all say that we're very sexy. It's just that the technology that we're bringing to the market is something that's so cutting edge, and it's so revolutionary. It's amazing to see what we're able to do. Here we're talking, and I guess we're gonna have the room to speak a little bit about what we do. But
Sure. Yeah.
actually, we give intelligence to robots. We can combine drones with ground vehicles, legged robots, robotic arms to work all together as an intelligent fleet or swarm of robotics. So literally what we're doing is bringing the next generation of autonomous robotics to the market. So it's quite excited, and for sure, you get the attention of everyone. And everyone likes attention, let's be honest, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's good, to talk about what you're doing in work, and that excites all the people, and people are interested to hear more about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, in your upbringing, did you know a lot about automation? Like in your high school or middle school, was it something that was taught in the schools, robotics or automation, anything like that? Or what made you interested in getting in this field?
Not at all. I was very into the advertisement world in the beginning of my career, more but always kind of innovating, but more focusing on the marketing side, on the branding side of
Hmm.
things. I remember by the end of my career in the university, um, when I was finishing the uni, and I was submitting the last sort of thesis and so on. I did a very nice work on, and by that time the drones were hype. So I
Hmm.
did a very nice work on how drones can support marketing for enterprises. So how to utilize drones for marketing. And from there is where everything started. And
Okay.
I didn't have an idea of where I was going. I was reaching out a couple of companies that were working by the time on with drones, and then I reach out who is today the CEO of Unmanned Life, and it's how we get to meet through
Okay.
that quest on. Okay, I needed to know more information about drones and so on, and then uh, basically I built my work on Unmanned Life, and on how we can utilize from a marketing perspective drones for branding and so on.
Yeah, that's so we're similar age. I'm 34. So I do remember when drones came out and it was very like, they were super expensive. Now you can get them like, at Costco or whatever for not that much. But I do remember that hype of like, and some people are kind of nervous. Like, is this going to start taking over? They're going to be watching us. How are they going to use drones? So that's interesting. So we've filmed with drones for our marketing purposes as well, like kind of the overview of our shop floor and stuff. It's really pretty cool technology. So do you, on a personal level, do you use drones at home like for fun? Do you have like kids, or like is it something that you use just in your personal life, or is it really just more business side?
I do have a drone, and we film a lot of marketing. Of course, for us, is key also to have those beautiful shots, what we call beer side views, shot with drones. So I have a drone myself, a small one, a DJI, the very small one. So I use it not as much as I would like to. Also, well, I live in the city. There is a lot of regulations
Sure.
about
Yeah.
it, and I'm also very busy. So I would love to use it a bit more, but yeah, we use it a lot, myself and the team. And I have a kid, and ever since I think the very first drone that I gave him was probably 3 years ago, but again, like a toy one, and then probably have gave him two, three. but small ones. But yeah,
Sure.
he's very into the company as well, and drones and yeah, I mean, I agree with you. When the hype was there, let's even say it's 6 years ago, 7 years ago, a drone was super expensive. Today we see that yeah, you can get a drone for nothing, for a couple of $1,000. Uh, and that is helping our business model to go forward, uh, because these drones are reducing the price because there is less computational power and less intelligence within the drone itself. This is what makes them more expensive. So our approach is basically to host the intelligence of the drones and the whole system on the cloud, on premises, and then have combine different type of robots and drones that don't have that level of intelligence on board, which of course is less expensive.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. So you have a boy. I have two boys. So my kids, when I started here with robots, they're like, now they both want to be engineers. They love the idea of automation. I'm sure your son feels the same way, right? Like it's probably a pretty cool job to tell your friends, like, hey, my dad works with these like pretty sweet robots, right?
Yeah, yes,
How
100%.
old is he?
He's already 13 years old.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
great.
Yeah. He's not a baby. I got him when I was very young as well. I was 19. And yeah, he's super into the company now. It's true that a couple of years ago he was like kind of, he didn't quite understand what I was doing, but now he's super excited about it. Funny story, when he was a kid, like a baby, way before I started working in here, when he was 3 years old, four, for me it was too funny because he was afraid of robots. When I
Really?
was a kid, I was afraid of monsters, about ghosts. He was freaking out about robots. I don't know why. Even when we were in a supermarket and he sees a CCTV camera moving, he was running and screaming like "robot, robot!" And I end up working in in a robotic company. Yeah, funny enough. But now, I mean,
That's
every
pretty
time
funny.
he has holidays and so on, he comes here. He loves to be around in the office and in the lab. We have a robotic lab in here, so he sees the robots there. He interacts a lot with the team. Today we were talking about him. He's kind of the one that everyone loves around because he's funny, and yeah, he's part of the team almost.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah.
And what a cool, I mean, it's the future, right? Like that's what kind of we're going to talk about next is, this is autonomous everything. This is going to be the future of, how we handle environmental issues and all sorts of different things. So I think him being on the ground floor, it's going to give him such a huge opportunity for the future to have a really awesome career if he chooses to go into automation or autonomous automation. So we can kind of segue, I think, into, you had mentioned autonomous everything when we first talked. And what does that mean? What do you, when you say that, what does that encompass?
Sure. I mean, the autonomous everything for us, it will be that moment in society where we feel comfortable on living with autonomous machines and everything will be connected, but in such a way that we don't feel disruptive by it. Okay, so I
Mhm.
know it's kind of difficult to understand, but it's just human nature. We need to evolve, and this is part of our evolvement as human race. And for sure, will reach that moment where we basically will reach progress thanks to this automation in our society. And we're gonna manage to live with robots flying around us. We're not being, scared about the fact that they're flying, or yeah, just walking in the streets and seeing legged robots just delivering stuff to enterprises and houses. I understand there is a fear on it, but I kind of assume that whenever, you know, uh, 30, 50, 60, or 80 years ago, when there was the planes or cars, uh, brand new cars just like on cities or planes flying, everyone was afraid of it. So it's just a matter of getting used to the, the new technology that will just improve our way of living for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we've started that, right? We were at a hotel out in California and they had an autonomous robot that was like that was going around the casino to pick up glasses off, or people would set their glasses or dirty utensils, whatever on that. So it's interesting because I like walked around it and I was like, wait, is this thing going to stop? But it did, it sees you and it's kind of a cool thing. Like some of these jobs that people don't necessarily want to work, being a busser or, it's not a great job. It's lower paid. It's not fun. So having these robots be able to do these kind of mundane jobs in the workforce, I think is kind of a cool thing. But I think you had mentioned kind of environmental, economical software, like different areas that I didn't really think about for autonomous robots. What is your outlook? Like, what do you see in the next 5 years or so for those areas that's going to be helpful with these new robotic solutions?
Sure. Well, I can talk to you about our vision for the next couple of years because we have a strong statement on where we believe that at least our software will make a huge impact, and we start with the sustainability area. So today we have a couple of use cases where we're using drones and robots for reforestation, for instance. So mapping areas, keep the data on the growth of the trees as well on date with drones. And even now we are evaluating the tree planting piece of the reforestation catalog, right? I think I've mentioned to you I was in Canada back in November where we delivered the first phase of this catalog of reforestation where we were using in the middle of the forest, drones for site mapping and monitoring of the growth of the trees. So for sure
Mm.
there we're doing a lot of things. We are working on another project where drones will be collecting or measuring the data on CO2 emissions and other emissions as well in industrial parks and also ports in Europe.
Okay.
Uh, so basically that part of our software is focusing on tech for good, let's call it, right? So of course there
Mhm.
is a whole business, and I don't want to lie saying that there is no a business incentive behind all of this, but the drones are being used to, and the robots as well, to basically support the sustainability cause of many companies. On the other side, we also have an application that is supporting first responders, firefighters for emergency cases, providing first situation awareness. There has been many case studies published on how drones are key for emergency situations, right? Just having a camera flying on top of an area which there is an issue is very beneficial and reduce the time to response. So we have an applications that are supporting already emergency responders and firefighters for this specific case. We have another deployment in the city of Vienna and in Austria with the firefighters where we were using drones for search and rescue. So drones can identify victims in distress and go on and support the rescue labor, reducing time, reducing cost for sure, and saving life. This is
Wow.
part of what we're doing. On the other hand, we have also applications for security. So drones doing security rounds, drones doing inspections for maintenance, and definitely also we can do a lot on the logistics, supply chain side of things, on the delivery of component parts in an industrial facility. As I mentioned, we can combine different type of drones and robots to accomplish a common operation.
Wow. So how easy is it to use your software? I mean, you're talking all these different, um, you know, firefighters that maybe they've never used this type of equipment? Is it easy for them to use and interact with it?
It is very easy, I must say. At least all the handovers that we've done so far has been successful. Our interface is a very friendly user interface, where you basically select the area where you want the drones to fly or to inspect, or you select let's say the mission, and it's just a couple of buttons that you need to press, and everything will be already working. Remember that we're giving intelligence to these robots. Intelligence means that they can take decisions based on of course, of the mission that you set. Most of these missions are kind of predefined in terms of what is the end goal, on what these robots need to achieve at the end. And the robots and the drones, they take the decision on, first of all, what is the best path to go, or the fastest ones to go and accomplish the mission. It takes care, of course, of all the security parameters and so on. So I must say that it's quite easy. Myself, as I told you in the beginning, I don't have a technical background, and I have launched already many missions myself. So
Okay.
it's not complex at all.
So for people that aren't really aware of how autonomous robots works, um, you set up a mission on the device, or is it like a tablet or is it like a teach pendant? How do you set up the mission?
So our interface is a web-based interface. We have decided to do it this way, so you can deploy it from your phone, from a computer, from a tablet. So it's the system is not running in the actual let's say device that you're gonna see the interface itself. So it can be deployed also remotely. We have many operations where we have deployed remotely from different areas. We have a very famous case study that we did with Ericsson, Verizon, and British Telecom, where the user interface and let's say the command center was in New Jersey at the headquarters of Verizon, and drones were launched from New Jersey, and they were flying fully autonomous in central London in King's College. So that was to prove that remote capability that we have. We have also launched the missions from Barcelona to Madrid, or from Brussels to Munich. So that is one of the capabilities that we have, and we are able to do it thanks to this approach of the web interface.
Okay.
Of course, it's fully encrypted and secure, because sometimes that creates some concerns. So we follow all the cybersecurity path to make it happen in a secure way.
Sure. Yeah, especially if you're working with firemen, government companies. I'm sure that's really important, to make sure it's super secure. So when you create the path or the job for the drone, how much time do you need? Because these are battery operated. So how long can they run a mission for?
Sure. So that will depend on the drone itself. Since we are a software platform, it will depend on and we're agnostic to the hardware at the end of the day, right? So
Okay.
we don't produce the hardware. We just integrate with the available hardware. Of course, we can always advise our end users on which is the best hardware to buy or to acquire for any of the missions. So there are drones that can fly for hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. There are others like the most commercial and affordable ones, like the DJI's drones, that can fly, well, depending as well on the payload, right, and
Sure.
on how heavy the camera is and so on. But it can go from 25 to 30 minutes flight. Um, we know that that's still a big concern, right, in the industry, and the time that these drones can fly. And one of the capabilities that we offer with Unmanned Life is to have this swarm, right? So one drone can take over the mission of another that is running out of battery. So you can have always drones in the sky,
Mm,
and one will take over to the other. Now we have also integrated with autonomous charging stations, so they can land while one is being charged, the other one have taken the mission over and can complete it also if it's a matter of the batteries. There are other charging stations that does autonomously the swiping of the batteries, right? So it swaps batteries so the whole mission can continue, and in a couple of minutes you have again the drone flying and following the mission.
Wow, very cool. So you've talked a lot about drones. What other type of autonomous robots have you integrated with?
So we have integrated with ground vehicles, AMRs, autonomous mobile robots.
Mhm.
We have integrated, or we have, well, I think I can talk about it. I probably cannot say who will be the end user, but I think I
Sure.
can mention the mission. So what we're doing now, and it's going to be very impressive. This will be live in before summer. We have a mission where a drone, which is model AI. We're doing not even a multi-robot operation, but we're using three different type of robots, which is quite innovative, and I'm not sure if there are many projects like that looks the same. So we are working with a drone that is coming from Model AI. The company is called Model AI. It's a spin-off of Qualcomm, a Mir robot, a ground vehicle, an unmanned vehicle, and a robotic arm from Universal Robot. So these three robots are operating in a different operating system, right? And in the case of the drone, it's a different, is a fly um, controller system, and we are able to combine them in the same operation. So this drone will be delivering a package on top of the ground vehicle, and the ground vehicle will drive through the warehouse, and then the robotic arm will come, pick up the package, and place it in a shell. So in here we're showing the real power of the platform, right? First of all, we're agnostic to the hardware. So we integrate with their operating systems, and we combine them, and we orchestrate autonomous robotics. So this is what we do.
That is so cool. Very, very cool. We've done a mirror project before. We are really strong partners with Universal Robots. So both really, really great platforms. And that's really neat that you can kind of all work together to create a mission. So I guess for the future of autonomous robots, what do you see? What do you picture like the world looking like in 20 years?
So first of all, we've been asked this question a lot as well, and here in Europe, we are part of many consortiums, right, that are led by the European Union and the Innovation Council on how what is will be the future of different areas. I can, for instance, talk to you about one which is very interesting. It's a consortium called GOV2, right? And it's basically shaping the future of urban air mobility.
Okay.
So what we're gonna have in the skies in a urban area, not even in a rural area. How we gonna live in the future in a couple of years with drones flying in these areas. For sure, the future is gonna be bright. Our life will be way easier and way more secure thanks to these machines that will be living around us. Uh, it's just a matter of acceptance. We also know that this is not going to happen. Yeah, again, in within 2-3 years. This is a long path that we have started already. Again, at least here in Europe, all these consortiums are being formed from different type of players. We're still a startup, but in these consortiums, we are working together with big corporates such as Airbus, Thales, frequencies. We all shaping this future, right? And bringing the best of our technologies, combining these technologies to build this autonomous future. And again, I think we all agree that the autonomous future will only make easier our life.
Mhm.
and safer as well. So we're gonna be able to live in a better world, indeed. So I think in terms of areas where, of course, we're gonna see a massive disruption, at least from our side, we see a lot on the safety part and on the emergency response. Also, many operations, as we already mentioned, operations that today are being done manually, like on the logistics side of things, that all of these operations can be automated, and then we can have things produce or deliver in a faster way. This will be the first areas that we will see this automation being part of, indeed.
Wow, very cool. So in in your experience, do you think that Europe is more open to autonomous robots than the US, or do you think it's pretty split down the middle? Everybody's kind of still on that like beginning stages and still kind of trying to figure it out.
It's a tricky question. It's a tricky question, but it's good. Of course, I will always, I mean, say that in Europe, because it's where I have more experience, is a bit more advanced. Um, I don't think that in terms of robotics in general, Europe is more advanced than the US. That will be a big lie.
Mhm,
Of course, in terms of technology, is way more advanced. But what I can tell is in terms of acceptance, at least on the drone side of things, in terms of regulations on drones, and I'm not talking about other robots. I'm talking about drones. It's true that Europe is ahead of the game in allowing different type of operations, drone operations, to happen. I think this is a race. Everyone wants to be the first one, but there is many, let's say, many points that needs to be checked before allowing drones to fly in urban areas, for
mhm.
instance, or drones flying for other type of operations in even in rural areas is still a quite difficult one. In the US, it's not that I have a lot of experience either on. We have done a couple of things in the US. Uh, but regulation is also changing almost every year in every country. And so far, my experience, or where I can compare between Europe and other countries, will be Canada. And in Canada, they're also kind of on 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 the run. Uh, and then if I compare it, it's true that Europe is a bit more advanced. Just to say that in Europe, in a couple of years ago, every country, every European country have their own regulation, and this has changed. And now there is a common regulation that every country that is part of the European Union needs to be applying to. So we all have a common law on on drones.
That's nice. That makes it a lot easier, I'm sure.
Way easier, way
Because I'm
easier.
sure in the
So
States
you
it's like
as
very state by state, city by city. Like it makes it a little bit more difficult to know what the regulations are, I'm sure.
is, yeah, still a complex one. But now that this system is in place, or is on the way to be in place, right? So I don't gonna lie to you, it's still a bit confusing as well, depending on what type of drones you're flying. There are now different categories depending of the category of that your drone is applying to. There is a different regulation. But yeah, it make it easier. You as a drone operator, then if you're in Spain and then suddenly you have let's say, yeah, you have an opportunity in Germany, you can always go and operate with your license in Germany, although it is a Spanish license. So it's part of, this common ground in Europe. Uh, but yeah, I think regulation so far has been sort of a bottleneck, not a blocking point, but a bottleneck everywhere in the world. And we see that now there is a change uh, that is progressively opening a little bit more on the options of flying, for instance, BBLOs, right? Which a couple of years ago it was almost impossible to fly VBLOs. VBLOs, for those who don't know what that means, is below line of visual line of sight.
Oh,
So uh, as a company, we're offering, of course, a system that will operate drones for long range flights, and this is basically a BBLO, right? So that you don't gonna, you as an operator, you're not seeing the drone flying. You can see it, of course, the camera, and this was a very difficult license to get before, and now, well, there is different systems that are allowing you to obtain the permits in an easier manner. Still a long process though.
Sure.
In Canada, in November, we in the reforestation piece, we were flying BBLOs. So it was the very first time that our partners from Canada, we work with TELUS, it's a telecom company in Canada. Uh, TELUS is our partners there. They're our partners, and for them it was the very first time that they obtained a BBLO license. So it was a quite an important milestone for them too.
Yeah. Do you help your clients get the correct licenses and permits, or is that something they typically need to get on their own before they work with
We're still figuring it out. For sure, they need our at least support. Because I mean, you will need to submit a lot of paperwork, and yeah, it's a process that we support in, but it will depending on the partner as well. In Spain, we work with Telefonica. Telefonica is also is a telecom company from Spain, and they have built a business unit. Where they offering basically this business unit is focused on drones, and part of the products is offering the consultancy part to ensure that the end users can secure the flight permits. So they're offering this service with our platform. So is, let's say that they are reselling Unmanned Life and the whole process, right, of obtaining these flight permits as well. So I guess this model will be replicated in other countries as well, because of course you as an end user, you would like to have the end-to-end solution in a package
you.
at the end of the day, right? So with our partners, we're trying to always steer towards that sort of product that comes all in one. Although we're a software platform, we have also the capacity to bring the hardware with us. We can put it into the project. So we have hardware, we have the network, we have the platform, and also we can offer the permits, the flight permits, and the consultancy part as well to obtain it.
Very nice. And how large is Unmanned Life? How many employees do you currently have?
We have about 31 employees at the moment. We're growing exponentially. So yeah, we have about 30. Most of them are here in Spain. As I said, in Barcelona, we have our tech quarters in here, but we have a lot of as well more business and financial related employees in the UK.
Okay. And how long? What year did you were was Unmanned Life founded? So how long have you been around?
So Unmanned Life, let's say that there is two phases of Unmanned Life, right? So Unmanned Life was founded in 2016 as a brand, but it was not commercially launched until 2021.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say that from 2016 until 2021, it was more on the R&D phase, pretty much doing small demonstrations, small POCs, trying to find our way to the market, understanding the market. Regulations by then was a big blocking point, so there was no way that we could launch a commercial product out there. And after pandemic, so during and basically at the end of the pandemic, we see that that was the right time to go for it. The acceptance of drones and robots also during the pandemic increased.
Hmm.
So let's say that that gave a boost as well to the business, and we officially launched what is Unmanned Life as it is today in 2021.
Very neat. So relatively new, but you are 31 people. It's a decent sized company already. So far
It
so
is.
good. And it sounds like you're on the right path to success. So, where can people find you? Where will you be? Will Unmanned Life be at trade shows? Are they able to see your technology live in action anywhere?
Sure. So basically, we really like the trade shows and to show. Usually, if we go to a trade show, it's because we have something to show.
Sure.
Right? So we love live demonstrations and so on. The next one will be the Mobile World Congress. Is the for us is the biggest event in that we do, at least in the world. The Mobile World Congress is, by the way, hosted here in Barcelona.
Okay.
This is from GSMA. It's an event that is pretty much focused on the operators, on the telecoms operators. Remember that our platform is always also powered by the network, and that's why we partner a lot with the telecoms. And we want to be there at the Mobile World Congress with a demonstration. We're going to be in different places at the same time. We have a live demonstration at the Accenture booth this year. So we're gonna have there a drone flying in at the booth. So anyone that is around the Mobile World Congress can pass by and see us there. We have a couple of speaking slots as well. We have a panel discussion, and we have been selected as the top five startups of the year into a competition. So there is a pitching competition on Monday, 27th of
Okay.
February. It's the first part, and the ceremony, the award ceremony, is on the 1st of March during the Mobile World Congress as well. So we'll see if we win or
Very
we
cool.
are. I mean, we are very happy to be selected on top of on as top five company.
Right. Exactly. That's great. So that's you
Yeah,
said that event is the end of February, beginning of March.
that's correct. The Mobile World Congress Barcelona is yeah, end of Feb. Also, we have confirmed our attendance to Hannover Messe, another one that is a big one in Europe, at least in Germany. Pretty much focused on industrial use cases. The Mobile World Congress is more about connectivity, 5G, cloud, and so on. Hannover Messe is more focused on industrial use cases, logistics, supply chain, and in there we're gonna have a presence and a booth and, well, basically a demonstration as well with a drone
Very.
flying
And that's
indoors.
in Germany.
That is in Germany, indeed. Now, in North America, we're looking into potentially going to a couple of events as well, but we haven't decided yet. We're negotiating.
Okay. Yeah. Well, keep me in the loop because it would be great if you're in the Chicagoland area or if you're somewhere close enough where that I could come and see you guys. It would be great to see your software and technology in action. So, is there anything else that you think would be important for people to know about autonomous robots or unmanned life in general before we kind of end the podcast?
Sure. I mean this future of the autonomous robots is coming, and platforms like Unmanned Life are enabling this future. But we don't want to make it alone. We know that, and this is a mindset that we have in the company, right? So the leadership is partnerships. We need to partner with other technologies in order to make this autonomous future happened, right? Part of the architecture that we have in our mind, at least the business architecture, is that we're enhancing an entire ecosystem that is fragmented already into one platform, into Unmanned Life. And we're always open to partner either with analytic platforms, with sensors, with hardware providers, with business information systems. So we can only make it if we partner with all of these systems. Unmanned Life was created in the very beginning because we saw that in out there was a fragmentation of robotics and systems, and we're trying to solve this issue that many companies have on fragmented systems, and trying to combine them into, let's say, one platform, which is unmanned.
Very cool. Well, I really appreciate you spending the time and talking with me. I'm excited for the future. I think being in this space now in automation. I'm going on almost a year now in automation. This is really exciting stuff, and I see it as the future, and I am looking forward to seeing what Unmanned Life does over the next few years. So definitely stay in touch,
Indeed.
and I look forward to speaking with you again, hopefully when you're out here in North America.
For sure, for sure. Thank you very much for the invitation. We're very, very glad that we made it.
Yeah, we made it happen. After all,
Yeah,
finally
finally.
made it happen. Thanks so much, Jorge. I
For sure.
appreciate your time.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your weekend.
You too. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.